Hey, Arrowheads! Welcome back to Queen Consolidated, a Southgate Media Group podcast dedicated to all things related to Arrow over on the CW. I am Lilith, and joining me, as always, is
Hey everyone, it's Phil.
so we're on part 7 of Quiver, which is titled Hard Traveling Heroes. Uh, it's actually a short story when you boil down what happens, but I feel like it's very poignant.
Yeah, and it's like a very different for a Green Arrow story.
Yeah. We never really get this deep again either, by the way.
Uh,
Not really, if you, in my personal opinion, anyway.
no, well, I think the whole they just needed this one issue to get deep to explain the whole. How did Oliver survive an exploding plane? Oh, he didn't.
Exactly. I thought that was kind of ballsy, to be honest. So, like, cause I mean, yeah, like I don't know if a lot of people even like really realize that like heaven and hell are like actual like places in DC and things like that. You know what I mean? Like it's all canon, and it's like the mainstream part of DC at this point too. So
hmm
I just kind of found that all fascinating how Kevin Smith weaved this in, and I thought that Phil Hester really handled the topic very visually and but like the shading was very subtle and even more elegant than it had been in previous issues. So.
Yeah, the art definitely set the tone in this story.
Yeah, definitely. What else? The one thing that I will say that this is like the first time in the Quiver run where the cover just was like, huh? I don't know about this one.
No, I don't know. Kind of tells you the whole story.
When you look back in retrospect, definitely. But I'm just like, he's going towards the light, or I guess that's what they were going for.
Oh yeah, after last issue, it looks like he got kind of vaporized
It should just be a
again.
big pile of
Again.
ash. That's what I would have made. I would have made the cover a big pile of ash.
That's how last issue should have ended. Just a big pile of ash and just like Roy and Black Canary standing there going, "Oh, not again."
Exactly. That's exactly how I felt. So some of the supporting characters in this issue are Deadman, Phantom Stranger, Spectre, aka Hal Jordan. At this point, I honestly wish he would have stayed Spectre. I don't know about you.
Um, I kind of like him as Green Lantern, but I know you like him better as what Parallax. Did you
Yeah,
like him as you like them as the Spectre?
yeah. It's just I don't know. It gives Hal a different dimension when he's. You know what I mean? Like to me,
Yeah,
and I like those dimensions better. They make Hal really shallow, and that's not his core character. You know what I mean? But they really play it up. Like starting
no,
like around this, like when he comes back, and like I think it starts in like 2008 or something, where he really just kind of takes a dive, and he's just like, I'm like, well, he's not a billionaire playboy, but you might as well have made him one.
shallow how.
Exactly. But other characters that you wouldn't expect to see in a comic book unless you are the vampire hunter Abraham Lincoln one. Abraham Lincoln. We get Chris Farley. We get Barry Allen as a spirit. These are all spirits. We get Mahatma Gandhi, Martin Luther King, and then also Jason Todd
For like one
as
panel,
Robin.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then in the flashbacks, we get Parallax, Superman, and Batman. And we also get an angel. So yeah, and the location is heaven.
Well, that angel isn't that supposed to be what's his face from JLA? Or I wasn't sure. Was it Zoriel?
I thought it was Pax Day.
Maybe.
I'm pretty sure that's who that was. Which is like the presence or whatever. No,
Yeah.
uh, it's like the four orders of like the angels or whatever. It's weird. It comes from like the presence, which we're getting into like Constantine Swamp Thing territory. So if you want more on that, eventually we'll get to it in Newcastle Crew.
And then you see Barry Allen there. It's like, okay, so is the Speed Force like a back door into heaven?
It just might be. The
I
Speed
think.
Force is like, well, on TV anyway, it's like the answer for everything. Don't need no, it's like, don't ask no questions. Speed Force, people, come on.
And just like he was only in one panel, I was like, wait, Jason Todd made it to heaven? I'm just like, didn't he kill a guy before he got killed?
Phil! Send the emails to Phil. I've already given Jason Todd enough in our in our Robin reviews, so that was
I
Phil.
know. I mean, I don't hate Jason Todd, but I'm just saying, didn't he?
That he did bad, and I think that was the point that they were trying to make because it parallels how Oliver was feeling. I think.
Yeah.
So I think that's the only reason why he made it to heaven in this instance.
But even I think Oliver might have thought that was Dick because he was like, oh, him and Roy used to hang out a lot. I'm thinking he thinks it's Dick.
I'm like, this is not New 52. Sorry there, buddy. Oh yeah. I don't know. Like like I said, the story is really short. Basically, how it goes is right before Etrigan like turns him into a pile of ash, the Spectre intervenes and teleports him out of the pentagram. Then Ollie sees Hal Jordan as a Spectre, and then Hal explains how he was cloned. Yes, don't you just love that DC trope? From leftover DNA that was left on Superman's cape during Final Night. And I was like, there's a really sick joke in there somewhere, but I know that the kids listen, so I'll just bite my tongue.
Well, it was written by Kevin Smith, so.
All I can think about is Clerks 2 and the Donkey Show. Poor Rosario Dawson.
Jeez.
Oh, yes, keep the kids away from Kevin Smith movies for the most part. What else? He pledges to take Ollie to someone who can help explain the memory loss that he's been suffering. So guess, where he takes them to the gates of heaven. They see the Phantom Stranger and they kind of like brush past him real quick.
Well, he tries to block their path until Hal pulls rank.
So ridiculous, man.
But you kind of start to figure out the answer.
Yeah.
That once Phantom Stranger starts saying, "Not you, body of Oliver Queen."
Exactly. Like, well, and we already learned what a hollow was, so it's just like, okay. So yeah, once they get in there, we start seeing all the souls. Like I said, the Flash and Jason Todd and Abraham Lincoln, Martin Luther King Jr. And you're just like, I don't know why all these people showed up for a comic book, but I guess free public domain or something. I don't know, but then like finally we see like somebody across the field, and he's like, yeah, I'm just gonna let your soul explain this to you. And let me tell you, the soul of Oliver Queen is just so sassy and so like steadfast and determined not to be caught up in that life again. It's really interesting. And it talks about why he only has his... Is it this issue that they talk about why he only has memories up to basically longbow hunters? Because that's...
No, I don't think, but... Yeah, no, because... Yeah, because didn't Oliver, the soul or whatever, say, to ask Hal to do that?
Okay, so it's the next issue that
I think it's next issue, yeah, because he just comes face to face with his soul on the last page.
Yeah, okay. It's hard when you read it straight through.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's like really short, simple, and to the point, and it also leaves you on this twist, and you're just like, okay.
But I did like the fact that how Jordan as the Spectre and Barry Allen and the soul of Oliver Queen still have like regular poker games in heaven and.
Like, isn't gambling one of those things? But we'll let it be. Maybe they're Jesuits. I don't know.
Well, maybe they're not playing for money. They're just
playing for the heck. Oh, strip poker. There we go. Feels like, don't you start writing that fanfic. Not today, love. Not today. I really, like I said, the artwork was the best thing about this for me. Like, I had a hard time
Oh, yeah.
picking favorite panels because they were just all so well thought out and put together.
Oh, I know. It's so much scenery in this. So did you pick a favorite panel or?
I know it's cliche, but it's that last panel. They basically just needed a dun 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 from Automatopoeia and out of nowhere.
Ah!
That's how palpable the tension was for me in that last panel.
Yeah, it's just Phil Hester. There's so much good stuff. Like I like that full page spread of like when Hal's explaining what how Hal became the Spectre and everything. How he became Parallax and everything. I like that one full page.
I like the flashback from Final Night #3, where we
Mhm.
see all the cameos and stuff. I thought that was a pretty good one.
Yeah, and I like that first panel where Barry comes screeching up. He's just like, oh, it's Barry Allen.
You know what it reminded me of?
Huh.
Of the graveyard scene in season 4 of Arrow, where he goes to run one way, then he like backs up and runs the other way. Oh, it's great. And just right there, it shows you that like, wow, they let him use the Flash in a cameo. Even like that was still really tender territory still.
Oh yeah, I mean Barry was like back then. It was like, yeah, Barry Allen's the one guy we're not bringing back. He's like the patron saint of DC superheroes.
The martyr.
Yes.
So I remember when I first read it, I was like, oh wow, that's what really struck me as odd and cool at the same time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I never did like Final Night, so it was kind of rough for me to have to revisit it when I was first reading this one again. I was just like, why they gotta go poking old wounds, man?
It's just always like, what was the point of Final Night? So we could depower Superman, so he could have like a honeymoon, a regular honeymoon.
But, every big mess up can be traced back to something that they wanted to do with Superman, whether it be Superboy or that incident. I'm telling you.
And they're just like, he's powerless. Cut his hair. Finally, cut his hair.
Party, business up front, party in the back with a little spit curl. Oh, so who was your favorite character in this issue?
um, It probably once again it would probably have to be Barry Allen.
I found the Spectre very bearable and actually enjoyable.
Say no, not the Spectre. Who?
No,
Say it.
no, no.
Say it.
How
Say it.
man.
Ah! I want that on a loop.
Lilith found Hal Jordan very bearable, tolerable, and even entertaining.
But I love how meta they got because when like Barry's talking to them and Ollie's like, oh, did one of the rogues kill you? And Barry's like, no, it was the Crisis. And Ollie's like, what Crisis? And Hal's like, oh no, remember? Or this is our boy pre-Crisis. he even says he says pre-Crisis.
It's like, how many crises did we actually really have before that final crisis? So many.
But I just love, it was so meta. Everyone says, pre-Crisis, and it's like, oh.
That's Kevin Smith. He's a real fanboy. He knows.
Oh yeah.
He sat through it with us. So. Oh, so I guess that brings us to the grade.
I don't know. Maybe it's just all the cameos and I don't know. I give it an A.
Same.
The only problem I had is just at the end I was like, oh come on, I gotta wait for next issue.
Exactly. Which it's a good feeling, but it's a terrible feeling at the same time. I'd rather be like, oh man, I gotta wait than good.
You're just like Ollie's facing his own soul. You're just like, oh, what mistake did he make?
Can they get into a fight? I just want them to get into a fight.
What bad decision did he make? No.
Where should we start? What year?
Well, I'm just talking about this issue. How is his soul not in his body? What bad mistake did he make?
Blame it on Hal.
Ah!
Oh, like I said, it reminds me of that supernatural arc, and I like rereading stuff now because there's like so many things where you can just see like certain influences from like some if you're into sci-fi anyway,
Mhm.
some of your subtle influences and stuff. So yeah. Anywho, I guess it's time for shameless plugs. So, of course, I'm going to start out and remind you guys to please check out SouthgateMediaGroup.com, where you can find a list of, I believe, at least 90 podcasts. So there's something for everybody, everything from anime to Pinterest to wrestling and everything in between. Uh, we can also find information about the hosts as well as a couple of blogs. Some Phil even writes.
A few.
And you can also donate if you're in a giving mood on that page to help keep this network afloat. You can find this podcast on all your favorite podcatcher services such as iTunes, Stitcher, Lisbon.com, and of course in the Google Music store under the podcast section. So please rate, review, and subscribe. And remember, download because streaming doesn't count, guys. If you want to get in contact with us, you can leave us a message on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Queen Consolidated. Twitter is at QC_SMG pod. And of course, you can always write to us via queen.consolidated@gmail.com. We look forward to hearing from you guys. Phil, how can they get in touch with you?
Well, if you want to discuss anything DC or Marvel with me, you can always email me, nightwingpdp@gmail.com. On Twitter, I am at nightwingpdp. Check out the various podcasts and blogs I do. The easiest way is to go to philparrish.wordpress.com.
As for me, you can find me on Twitter at Lilith Hellfire, tweeting about the various things that DC is doing right and wrong. Yeah, at Lilith Hellfire. If you're on Tumblr, it's lilithhellfire.tumblr.com. If you're on Instagram, Lilith Hellfire86. And of course, my website, lilithhellfire.com. Nice, easy branding. So, that brings us to the wrap up. And you know what that means. Unless you're stuck on a hellish island for 5 months to 5 years, please be sure to tune back in next week. But until then, this is Queen Consolidated, signing off.